There's so much going on in the Bridgerton fandom right now. Some are complaining about the fact that Benedict had more sex scenes than the main couple of the season, Penelope and Colin. Some others are complaining about the emptiness of the Mondrian storyline, while I also see some not liking how Anthony kept coming and going throughout part 2. But the one thing that I see many people rage about is Jess Brownell's decision to turn Michael into Michaela. Even though I don't see any problem with centering one season of the show on a same-sex couple, I do see a problem with this couple being Francesca and Michael, and there are many reasons for that. Let's discuss the Michaela reveal on all fronts. How will this impact the future seasons of the show? Let's talk about it. First of all, I want to start by saying that any criticism against this change should not be swept under the rug as homophobia. I see a lot of people online doing this, and I wanted to address that. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who are not happy about this change solely due to the fact that it's going to be two women in a relationship, but that is not the case for me and most people I know who have concerns about this change. I feel like this was important to tell you all. Now, let's see why the gender change is concerning for many book fans. You should know that Michael is perhaps the most popular and loved male love interest in the entire book series. So he is such a dear character, and his story with Francesca is such a dear story for many Bridgerton book fans who have been waiting to see it on the screen. From the start, it was obvious that Bridgerton's showrunners would not stick to the books fully, but still, the main characteristics of the story remained the same. But now, this is such a drastic change that all book fans are feeling disappointed because they won't get to see their favorite story from the books on the screen. If they did this change perhaps with another character, I'm sure the backlash wouldn't be the same. Another important thing to consider is the significant impact of the gender change on the storyline. Michael being a man is such a crucial part of their story because two of the main themes of Francesca's book are infertility and losing a child, which only makes sense when there is a man as a character. And When He Was Wicked, Francesca and John have problems getting pregnant, and when she actually does, she miscarries, which is such a disappointing thing for her because she wants to be a mother so badly. After John dies, Francesca doesn't want to get married for a while, but after a few years, she decides to enter the marriage market mainly because of this exact same reason. She wants to be a mother. In the end, she does have 2 children from Michael, which makes her dreams come true. Now, Michael being Michaela changes this whole thing about Francesca. It changes her character as well, which makes me feel like the showrunners just don't care about the books at this point. This change destroys their entire storyline and motivations. One other thing we can talk about is what we saw in the final episode of Season 3, Part 2. After their first kiss at the wedding, Francesca made a face that I couldn't comprehend, but it seemed like she didn't enjoy it, or maybe it didn't live up to her expectations. Maybe she didn't feel the passion that her mother spent so much time telling her about. I didn't like that scene at all. And then, as soon as she sees Michaela, she's stunned and can't say a word. What was that about? There are 2 problems with that. First of all, it always seemed to me that Francesca was really in love with John. It wasn't some friendly match that made her happy. She was really in love with him, and in the book, she suffered a lot after his death. Now, the show made it seem like what she has with John is not real love at all. The other problem is making Francesca the one who is all excited to meet John's cousin. The whole idea in the book is the fact that Michael falls in love with Francesca in their first meeting, maybe like 36 hours before the wedding. And most of the story is about his infatuation with Francesca despite her marriage to John. Even though he doesn't do anything disrespectful as far as I remember, the whole point is that he burns for her from the first moment he sees her. But what did the show do? They made Francesca the one who immediately fell for Michaela. She was swooned as soon as she saw her. I mean, the actor was gorgeous, I don't blame Francesca, but it should have been the other way around, considering Francesca had just gotten married. Making Francesca pine for Michaela before John dies would not fit her character and storyline at all, and would diminish all the things she said about John this season. Despite all this criticism, there is nothing we can do. Michael is Michaela now, so what could happen in the future seasons? I truly believe them going to Scotland with Eloise showed us that neither Francesca nor Eloise would be the star of the next season. In fact, Eloise said that Violet would host a masquerade ball next year, which, as book readers know, is where Benedict finally meets his love interest, Sophie. I feel like that was like an unofficial confirmation for Benedict as the next lead. If he is indeed the next lead, will Francesca, John, and Michaela show up in season 4? I feel like they will, but only occasionally since they live in Scotland. At the end of season 4, we can see the death of John because in the book, Francesca doesn't start a relationship with Michael years after John's death. In this scenario, Eloise would be season 5 and Francesca would be season 6. In the end, I will like to say that despite all the criticism, I am still excited for Francesca and Michaela. Seeing two women's love story will be quite exciting and I am curious to see how they will pull it off. From the few seconds we saw her, Michaela seemed charismatic as hell, and I can definitely see her as a main love interest. I think the main problem here is the changes from the Bridgerton books, which is a valid concern. I am seeing people wanting to drop the show because of this change, but I won't do that. I cannot wait for that story. Don't forget, loving and supporting a show doesn't mean that we cannot criticize it. We should be openly able to talk about everything, at least that's where I'm standing. What do you think about all of this? If you want to hear what I thought about the season 3 finale, go check this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.